Hello, beautiful people. It's very good to see you again. I hope that you had a very good week. Today, I want to continue the discussion that we started a week ago on mistakes. The question today is, how do we react to mistakes when they happen? And how should we react to mistakes when they happen? If you don't have a lot of time today, one key message that you should take out of this video is the following. If you made mistakes, or if you make mistakes, don't put yourself in the prison of regrets and sorrows. Forgive yourself, because that's the only successful way to move forward in your life. When you make mistakes, you usually think that you are the only one making mistakes. Worse, when you make mistakes, it sometimes feels like you are stupid, naive, or silly. But let me tell you the following. Everyone makes mistakes. And mistakes happen in any area of our lives. If people were to tell you what kind of mistakes they have made in their lives, I'm sure that you will spend an entire day long weeping the tears of your entire soul. So everyone makes mistakes. And I'm not saying this to make you feel good. I'm saying this because that's what we are. Making mistakes is part of the way that we are created. It's what makes us human. We make mistakes because we are humans. And being human means you cannot predict with full accuracy what is going to happen before it really happens. And that's critical. You might have all the best intention in the world about doing something. You might have all the best goals when you want to do something, when you undertake something. But it might sometimes turn out to be completely different from what you thought. You will make mistakes, and it's part of what we are. The problem with mistakes is how usually people react when the mistake happens. The problem is that you have most of the people reacting the wrong way when those mistakes happen. Usually when you make a mistake, there is this way of thinking, oh, if I had known, I wouldn't have done this, right? If I had known that it wouldn't work, if I had known that it would have turned out to be a disaster, I would have not started that to begin with. And that way of thinking can really be very depressing, because you feel like you had the power to change something and you didn't change it. And that's really wrong to think that way, because you didn't have the power. The reason why you didn't have the power is because you could not have known before it happened. You know, no one gets up in the morning thinking, oh, I'm going to do harm to myself. No one thinks like that unless you're sick. Everyone wants good for he or herself. Everyone. You cannot change your past. Your past is your past. And when you have this, if I had known, or my life could have been different way of thinking, that can quickly put you on a very slippery road where you get depressed, you lose interest in many other areas of your life. You make a mistake in one area of your life, and you spread that regret and remorse in the other areas of your life. You lose interest, you lose the energy, you lose the focus, you lose the power to change your life. And once you get into this slippery slope, you will end up jailing your own self in a prison of regrets and sorrows. And unless you make the right decision to get out of that prison, there is no way for you to have a real future. A future that you can really be proud of, a future that you can really enjoy, a future that you really dream of. Because jailing yourself in that prison of regret and sorrows will suck out your energy. It will suck out your focus. It will suck out your courage. It will suck out your power. And it will make you a weak person, incapable of dealing with the obstacle of the future. It will destroy you. That's the reason why at some point you got to make a decision about the mistakes of your life. You have to decide whether you're going to jail yourself in the prison of regret and sorrows, or you're going to be a free man or a free woman and go forward in changing your future. It's a choice that you have to make. You have to determine yourself when it comes to whether you forgive yourself or you don't forgive yourself about your own mistakes. And here's the truth about mistakes. It doesn't matter whether you forgive yourself or you don't forgive yourself, you will always have to bear with the consequences of your mistakes. But here's the big thing, the big difference. You either want to be a prisoner with the consequences of your mistakes, or a free man or a free woman dealing with the consequences of his or her mistakes. The only difference between the two is in one case you don't have freedom, in the other case you have freedom. In one case you have no future, in the other case you do have future. In one case you live in the past, and in the other case you give yourself the right to live in the future. But it's the choice that you have to make. Let me tell you that even successful people sometimes make more mistakes than you. Why do they have a future? The reason why they do have a future is because they're determined to be free people and being able to tackle the future with boldness, courage, and focus, without dragging regret around and sorrows around about their mistakes. Here's the thing. Successful people do make mistakes, as I said. The difference is they do not carry forward the regret and the sorrows of those mistakes. Mistakes will happen, yes. Once the mistake happens, you have to have the courage to draw the lessons about that mistakes and you move forward. At some point, you got to drop the regret. At some point, you have to let it go. At some point, you have to get over the regret of the mistakes. Let me tell you this story. There was a coach. He was an NBA star coach and also a psychologist. He got interested in knowing how long a typical NBA star would spend in terms of time being regretful or remorseful about a game which she or he lost. Do you know what he found out? He found out that the typical average NBA star will usually spend 25 minutes being regretful. Only 25 minutes being regretful. After that, the guy moved on. After that, the lady would move on to thinking about the next match, the next game. There's one thing about mistakes that you should never forget. For every mistake, you will have to pay the price. So then the question for you is, why do you want to pay twice the price for one mistake? Because when you make the mistake, you pay the price already. You see the consequences. You paid cash up front. When you decide to carry the regret and the sorrows around in the future, jailing yourself, you're basically paying a second time for the same mistake. And it does not make any sense. Don't jail yourself. Don't put yourself in the prison of regrets and sorrows. What should you do? Just forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. Because once you forgive yourself for your mistake, you will have the focus, the energy, the power, and the courage to change your future. Remember, there is nothing you can do about the past. But the future is all in your hands. And that starts by forgiving yourself about your mistakes. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you guys liked it. And if you did like it, put a thumbs up, Comment below. I like when you guys comment. I also enjoy when you guys share. And for this one, you should particularly share because you have usually no clue where around you is suffering from his or her mistakes. Stay bold. Trust yourself in spite of your mistakes. Trust God. Stay blessed. See you next week. Bye.